Welcome back to Timberborn and my Diorama challenge. In the last episode, I was messing with this water wheel assembly because I wanted to get it running faster. I wanted to, have my grist mill working better. Right now, I don't even have any beavers in it, so that's going to be a problem. But I wanted to get all of my industry working better than it was before. But the problem is, I'm just really limited by that. I can't put a big water wheel in this water because it's not deep enough. And I've also let my beaver population start dropping. Right now, we've got 34 beavers. We had 38 midway through the last episode. So that's a problem. So the first thing I need to focus on is getting my beaver population back up again so that we've got beavers to work in these places. I'm trying to think, is there any place that is... Like, okay, yeah, I don't have anyone working in the bakery. I don't have anyone working in a lot of these places. Okay, yeah, this is actually kind of getting to emergency level problems. So, because basically, so you need to have enough beavers gestating. By the way, how do we... I've actually forgotten, is it housing? Yes, okay. So, you actually need to have basically as many beavers being born as are dying. And the higher your population, the more frequently you suffer beaver deaths. And so, basically, you need to have more and more breeding pods as your population grows to keep your population stable. And so, right now, basically, I let my population grow high enough that the number of breeding pods that I had was not enough to keep it stable. So... we're going to prioritize these beaver pods, speed up time. Luckily, it doesn't take a lot to make a beaver pod, so they'll be able to get them up and running. But there's going to be a period of time during which, basically it takes time for these things to gestate. I'm not actually sure how long exactly it takes. And I don't think it says. Like, it needs water and berries, and I think it needs to be fed, because it says it's got capacity for 2 water and berries, but it needs 5. So I think what that means is it consumes these as it goes, and it needs to be fed water and berries as it goes. And so I think that it doesn't list a specific time that it takes, because it really depends on how fast the beavers are able to feed it nutrients. So that's a little bit of a nail-biter, wondering if we're going to get our population up or we're just going to keep suffering more and more problems. We did just have a beaver get born, so we've got 35 beavers now. But, so one of our goals is to try to get our population stabilized. I'd love to get back up to 38 beavers and higher so that we can actually get them working in these places and keep our happiness going. Notice that our happiness, it got up to 13 before, but now it's back down at 12, and I imagine that's probably because fewer beavers are able to get bread and chestnuts, because the bread and chestnut places don't have anyone working in them. So if there starts to become like a serious food shortage, then we'll worry. Then we'll maybe try to assign some people to those. But for right now, yeah. So like the latest recently added workplaces just don't have any beavers working in them. So while we're waiting for that to happen, though, the other thing that I've wanted to focus on is getting our industrial capacity up, specifically getting it to be engine fueled. Oh, so by the way, Coalition asks, are you planning on doing Resident Evil 4? Yeah, so they're doing the Resident Evil 4 remake, and they also recently finished the Dead Space remake. And those are both games that I've really liked in their heyday. I haven't been sure whether it felt like it was a good use of my time on the stream to stream those. I mean, unless somebody requests them. Just because they're older games, and a lot of you have played them already. The reason why a lot of you love them is because you've played them already. And so I'm not sure if it's the best use of my time to do that. So let me know if you're interested in seeing those remake games, or if you'd rather see like new weird indie games and stuff like that, which is my usual fare. Okay, so what I need to do is, an engine. Let's just talk about an engine. Let's unlock it with science. So it produces 400 horsepower. So each of these like lumber mills, they only require 50. So I could have 8 lumber mills hooked up to a single engine. It would run them all. Whereas each of these little beaver mills, not only do they take a beaver to run them, which is expensive, because these beavers who are running the lumber mill are not working in the grist mill. They're not working in the smelter. So I can save some beaver time and also just run a whole bunch of industry at sort of top speed. one thing I'd really like to do in order to get my water wheels here, better supported, I'd like to be able to make explosives, which means I need a paper factory, and I need to have an explosives factory. And all of those things need to be run by some kind of power, but I don't have a lot of room for, space is at a premium. I don't actually want to have a high beaver population if I can help it. Beavers have to be fed, they have to be housed, and I just don't have any space. So I need to have engines. So the question is, how should I have engines? Which is maybe a weird way to phrase that, but right now I've crammed my factories into kind of a tight space here. And in order to power them with a single engine, I need to put the engine somewhere else and then bring the power here via little power, what are these called? Power shafts. I need to have power shafts. And that means one thing I'm going to need is a high power shaft in order to, this is the shaft that lets you take things down from above. So let's say that what I want to do is build my engine up on the cliff up here. So how big is the engine? Let's see. Okay, so the engine, one interesting thing about the engine is it has one output and one entrance for beavers, and they're on opposite sides, which is actually really inconvenient a lot of the time. Most of the time... Oh, wait. You can power your science thing? Or can science produce power? Why was it... It looked like when I was holding my engine out, it looked like you could actually hook power up to a science thing. Is that real? Can you make the science go faster by hooking it up to something besides wind? Oh, that's something I never considered before. Interesting. Okay, but that's not what we're here to do. What I want to do is figure out what is the most convenient way to set up an engine so that a beaver can come in on one side and the power can exit on the other side and have that be useful. So I'm thinking that maybe where I want it to be is right here. I'm specifically thinking about how to feed power well to my 2 lumber mills down below. And I think that I might need to set it up so that it's coming at them from this angle. So I'll place this here. We've already got an existing path that leads up this far. And I think I've got all the logs, gears, and... actually, I'm low on logs. I'm really low on logs. But I've got the gears and the metal blocks that it takes to build this thing. So, and the logs will come in. I mean, as these trees grow and get chopped down, the logs will eventually come in. Oh, I think one reason why my logs are low right now is because I've been slowly swapping out my pine trees for maple trees. And that means we got to wait for maples to grow, which takes a while. So we're in a little bit of a transitional period here where we're not getting as many trees as we'd like. But we're going to build that engine. And then... I think I don't need lumber right now. I think I've got enough gears and enough planks right now that I can actually disable my lumber production and delete these 2 guys. And then what I need to figure out is how I'm going to get power down to here from this upper story. And this is going to be the complicated one, because it's in such a tightly restricted place. Now, I could just also build entirely new... we got rubble. Great. Oh, good. We've built the engine. Awesome. Let's pause it. We don't need it yet. We don't want to, take a beaver. So... Okay, yeah. So I think we have barely enough space to get some power shafts entered. So a high power shaft, it sits on a lower level, and it connects to an upper level. So you can see it's almost like a staircase. So I've staircased it down, and then we're going to put a little connector right there. So now this is a power train, basically, that's going from up here, down, and connecting into here. And I think I can probably just do a parallel one for the other guy. I kind of like the idea of them being symmetrical. So let's do the same thing here. Let's build a little power train that goes up from there. And then the question is, how are we going to merge these up above. So now that we don't actually have to be... Originally, this path had to be here in order for beavers to get to the beaver wheels that were right here. But I don't think we actually need that anymore. I think I can back up the staircase one step, and there's a reason to do that, and I'll show you what it is. Oh, it looks like we got another drought coming. Cool. Okay, let's pick up all this rubble, because we're going to need it to build the next phase here. All right, so then let's build... And by the way, one reason I'm keeping it going at top speed is so the beavers can finish this, because I would like to have this done before the drought gets here, if at all possible. Oh, and actually... Let's pause for a second. This is about to get finished. We should talk about this. Okay, I think they can build this from... Yeah, so let's... Okay, so it can only go 3 tiles up. So actually, building it this high... Why did I build it this high? I can only hold 3 tiles worth of I guess, of course, I guess if the 3 tiles... I can only build something that's 3 tiles high and then still put a floodgate on it. But I want to put the 3 tiles, that's right, above this level. Because I want to be using the full width of this area. And so if I built the 3 tiles starting from the bottom, I would only get the water that was held back in this tiny area. I want to get the full width of this cistern. So that means, yes, I do want to build levees up to that level. And then build floodgates out here. So I'll let the beavers keep working on that. But let's start the floodgates down. Which means that we're probably not going to use them this drought, unless we're very lucky. I don't think we're going to finish them. But, anyway, okay, so back to this. We'll let them keep working on that in the background. And I think it's not going to be a benefit for this drought. It'll be for the next drought. So the reason I'm doing this is so that I can get my stairs going higher. So let's pause it for just a second and let's get rid of this path. And let's put the power train through this area, and then we're going to build a path over it. So let's merge these together with a little T-junction, and then connect it like that. So, Ran of Course says, at the industry's rate, State of Decay 1 remake is going to come out before State of Decay 3. I mean, yeah, so, like, how old is Dead Space? Dead Space was from... It was from the aughts, right? It was before 2010, I think? Am I right about that? And so... Or was it after 2010? Has it been about 15 years since Dead Space 1 came out? And State of Decay 1 came out in 2013. So it'll be 2028. It'll be 2028 before we're due for a State of Decay 1 remake. So I guess we've got a race now. We've got to race and try to come out with State of Decay 3 before 2028. That is not a promise. But also, that's a pretty forgiving amount of time. Okay, so now I'm going to build platforms over that T-junction. See? And then staircases down from it. Though actually, you know what? Thinking of future-proofing this, I'm going to want to connect other things to this in the future. So let's actually make this... Let's make it a 3-way, everybody. Let's make it let's make it a 4-way. And then let's actually build out... Let's make sure that this thing can go... That I don't have to redo this later on with another path. So there. So now we can get engine power going in a lot of different directions without interrupting beaver travel. And now that we've got that going... Actually, yeah, let's keep that paused. Let's have no beavers try to work here until we actually have power to it. And that means maybe those beavers can work in other places. We're up at 36 beavers. We're doing a little bit better with our population than before. Okay, so Raneth Cord and Orathout say that yes, 2008 was when Dead Space came out, so it is 15 years old. So yeah, so there you go. We've actually got a little bit of a race going now. We got an injured beaver. Is the beaver going some? Is it going to go and? Where is this injured beaver? And why is he not going in here? Where is he? Oh, there he goes. Okay, he actually did finally go and rest. Good. We're getting closer and closer to finishing up this thing. But now that I've built a bunch of other stuff, the beavers are going to focus on that first. So, and yeah, our logs are still lagging behind. One thing that I tend to do when I'm playing by myself is sometimes I'll just sit back and just, like, let the village run for a little bit when you know, food is positive and I'm not really worried about the beavers starving. I'll just let it run for a little while. Actually, let's start planting some maples here. I'll let it run for a while and build up enough logs that I can then spend them on enormous projects. But because I'm trying to stream every second of this, we don't really have that opportunity unless we want to just sit back and chat. Though actually, you know what I'm not doing? I'm not chatting. I'm not paying any attention to the chat. So Coalition says, if you're into it, I would use all my channel points for you to complete the 6 first chapters of Resident Evil 4 Remake. Okay, so, you know, if you want to, I mean, you don't have to spend all your channel points to do that. I think you can, I mean, so, well, I guess I did stop playing Cry of Fear, and you were like, hey, you spent more channel points to make me play Chapter 2, which maybe I'm going to save until October, but, which is a long ways away, I'm a jerk. So I guess, yeah, I can see why you would anticipate that maybe I would only play a little bit of Resident Evil. You'd have to keep, like, juicing me with channel points to get me to keep playing it. If you want to watch me play the whole thing and you want to use your channel points that way, that's fine. Yeah, I agree that it's an amazing game. And I actually am kind of curious, like, how they've modernized it. If they've modernized things about the controls, for instance. Because I remember really liking Resident Evil 5, except that it came out after Dead Space, when Dead Space had done that same kind of game, but allowed me to move my feet while also shooting. And Resident Evil 5 didn't. I had to plant my feet when I shot. And I was like, that felt so old-fashioned. That felt like a GameCube game, because the GameCube only had the one stick that you could really use that way. And so you had to decide on the GameCube, which is the platform that Resident Evil 4 originally came out, you had to decide, am I shooting or am I walking? Because I can't do both. But, you know, modern controllers have got 2 sticks and everyone's really used to, not everyone, but, you know, lots of people, most of the audience is really used to using 2 sticks to move and shoot at the same time. So having Resident Evil 5 go back to the planted foot shooting again felt really old-fashioned and strange to me. So I don't know what Resident Evil 4 has done, if they've actually gone back to the original, which plants your feet when you shoot, or if they've made it more modern. Okay, so Coalition says they actually modernized the controls amazingly. Now you can crouch and move while firing, and you can even stealth kill enemies. Oh, okay, so they really have updated it. They've added a bunch of new stuff. Okay, well, that actually is really interesting. So, okay, yeah, that might be worth checking out. So, yeah, if you want to spend the channel points to make me do that, go right on ahead. Let's see here. So, Raneth Court is suggesting that we could do a State of Decay 1 remake as DLC for State of Decay 3, depending on how State of Decay 3 works and like when it's set and stuff like that, which we will not reveal at this stage. So, you know, so some nice experimental thoughts there, Raneth Court. So Coalition says to entice me to play Resident Evil 4. Coalition says that that Resident Evil 4 is like Tunic, only it's gory. It's definitely very different from Tunic in a lot of ways, but I see what you're talking about. He says that there's backtracking to do stuff in old areas with new abilities that you've got. It's got weapon unlocking, treasures everywhere, collectibles. So, okay, yeah, I can totally see that. So maybe I will. Maybe at some point, especially if Coalition officially requests it. I might very well play Resident Evil Remake on this channel. I've got Dead Space. I've been playing a little tiny bit of Dead Space. I think I'm most of the way through Chapter 1 of Dead Space on my own time. And so maybe I could see myself going back to Dead Space 2. Not 2, Dead Space 2, but Dead Space as well. Okay. Okay, so the maple trees are starting to grow. Cool. Are they marked as choppy? No. Why are these ones not marked as choppy? Let's choppy them. Okay, so yeah, so I think that our big problem is we're just falling way, way, way behind on logs. And on planks, actually. And we're drinking a lot of water real fast, too. Okay, we're doing okay on water. Looks like we're filling it up pretty fast. So my question is, are the beavers not building this because they can't? I mean, or are they just building it slowly and I'm getting impatient? Oh, no, they are building this. Oh, they're putting their energy into this because I didn't deprioritize it. Right. You know what? That's kind of fine. I mean, it would be kind of cool to sort of, if I can, like, at the end of the drought, if I can fill this thing up, that could be kind of neat. How much is it going to take, though? Oh, yeah, they're just basically, okay, they're basically just feeding in what logs they have. And, oh, wait, we suddenly have 46 logs because they chopped down all these maple trees. Yep, okay, so we've got a bunch of logs. So hopefully once it's daylight again, we get a bunch of beavers over here. Maybe they can fairly quickly finish up the cistern, and we'll get it all queued up so that when the drought ends, we can actually start filling it up and using it. It looks like we're getting real shallow again over here. So yeah, good thing that we're at the end of the drought. So we'll finish up the cistern, and then the beavers will devote their energy to building out this whole deal, and we'll see if we can get our engines up and running. So, La Coalición, does Resident Evil 4 still have the crazy punishing QuickTime events that it had originally? Or have they also modernized that a little bit? Because I know QuickTime events were like a big deal in a certain era. Basically, it was when video game graphics kind of hit the level that they hit with, say, Resident Evil 4 or like the early Crystal Dynamics Tomb Raiders, where it's like, it looks good enough that it's actually kind of fun to watch a cutscene. And so so basically they were like, we want to show off our ability to do cinematic cutscenes, but we don't want it to just be cutscenes. Players complain when playing a game is like watching a movie. Oh wait, let's prioritize this stuff up. Let's finish this thing. And so they came up with the idea of QuickTime events, which is basically, you know, a cutscene starts, but then you have to do some kind of input in order to make the cutscene successful, which sounded neat, and it definitely led to some good-looking trailers because you'd see types of action on the screen that you would normally just not be able to see in any video game. And so it was just taking advantage of the fact that video game graphics just looked better than they ever had, and they were on a really steep upswing. It was starting to just look better and better and better very quickly. And so you could get a lot of sort of positive attention on a game by making really good-looking cutscenes and really good-looking QuickTime events. But they're not actually all that fun because they don't really use the same skill set that you build up to play a game. Okay, so we are just one shy. So we're going to start filling it up, but we're not going to fill it up all the way. Let's fill it up. Let's fill it up to 2. So yeah, so we've raised the floodgates. So we'll start, once the water comes back, we'll start filling the cistern. Hopefully a beaver can finish this last one. We just need 12 logs, which we definitely have. Okay, so the water's come back. But yeah, so players realize that basically, you know, part of the enjoyment of playing a game is building up some skills and is mastering a skill set. Actually, let's get this up to 2.5, the highest we can raise it and have it actually work. There we go. Okay, so this water is... So we're going to watch this start to fill in while we keep talking about QuickTime events. So yeah, so it was really good for sort of like marketing a game, but when you're playing a game, like part of the fun is getting better at the game, right? Like, ooh, I used to be able to only do this, but now I can do this. Is one of the really fun parts of playing a video game. But QuickTime events don't build a skill. I mean, they are a skill themselves, but they're not a very interesting skill, and they're a very different skill from the normal gameplay of a typical video game. And so players would feel like, okay, I'm not good at this QuickTime event. I'm failing at this QuickTime event, but I feel like I'm good at the game, and this feels unfair. It feels like it's not fair that I'm being asked to do this weird thing that doesn't really resemble the skill of the game. And basically, my ability to survive this game doesn't depend on my normal skill level with the actual skills of the game. Instead, it just depends on me being able to do this weird thing that just isn't very... I'm not interested in whether or not I'm good at quickly reacting to a sudden prompt on the screen. Like, I don't care if I'm good at that. It doesn't matter to me whether I'm good at that. But it does. But you know, the rest of the skills involved in a certain game might very well be things that I'm interested in. And so, okay, so we've got, okay, it looks like one downside, by the way, of these levees is if something spills over them, they can't drain back in because I've got all these levees built up here, raising the level of the water. I'm flooding and killing my crops because I can't get the water back out again once it falls in. It will eventually dry up, but yeah, so we've got a problem there. I'm trying to think, where did that water come from? Did it surge over the side in a random place, or was it specifically right here? If it's right here, I might be able to do something about that for the next time. But that would involve getting rid of one of these pumps. Because, yeah, this is costly. Killing these plants is costly to me. This can actually cause serious problems for my beavers. By the way, we have 40 beavers now. We are running the grist mill again. We are running the refinery again. We only have one thing that's not running, though. Okay, we are running out of... Okay, we've got to turn this stuff on. So now that we've got the powertrain up and running, we can turn this on, we can turn this on, and we can turn this on, except none of them have beavers working there. So let's reduce the number of builders that we have temporarily. Come on, no. Okay, I guess, you know what, we don't need both of our lumber mills running. Okay, so now Azajoth works here. Go to work, Azajoth. But we got to fill it up with logs. So we got to have logs to feed into the engine. And now it's nighttime, so Azajoth is no longer working there. Fine. Yeah, we definitely want to get our planks up and running again, because... Are there any other, like, just non-essential jobs? I mean, we want this guy replenishing the trees. Oh, we definitely want these guys replenishing the trees. Holy crap, let's get some maples in there. There we go. Okay, so yeah, now that the maples are all maturing, our log production is just suddenly way, way, way up. But yeah, so it's like, I don't care if I'm good at QuickTime events, and so when there's a QuickTime event, it's just frustrating that me being good at that is what my success is dependent on, because I just don't care if I'm good at that. I care if I'm good at planning beaver villages. That's a skill that I like, that matters to me. I don't care if I'm good at QuickTime events. So yeah, so Coalition confirms that actually Resident Evil 4 Remake, apparently they got rid of the QuickTime events that happen in cutscenes, and now the QuickTime events that they have are just tied to actual gameplay, like hammering a button to get an enemy off you, that sort of thing, which is, you know, a little bit more common. It doesn't feel as divorced from the actual fun of that style of game. Okay, so basically, I think that if I rotate this guy and move him over just a little bit, I think that will get us where we want to be. So let's delete this. Let's make sure we're picking up the rubble before I move it accidentally to someplace it doesn't want to be. Let's cancel this pathway, and let's delete this. And then, what I'm going to do to try to keep that flooding from happening, and we've recovered from the flooding, but it cost us something, because we got to regrow all these plants from scratch. I'm going to build a levee like this. So it'll be a little wall that should prevent the water from spilling in exactly that direction. And I'm hoping that will be sufficient. So, to put this water pump back, we'll need to build some stuff there, like that. So we'll put the water pump back, and it'll be right next to there. And then we've actually got space to build another water pump out here if we really want to. Though I might actually think about doing something a little bit different there. Because... Or maybe, oh, should it be here? So the thing I'm thinking about is aquatic plants. So right now we're growing, I believe, yes, we're growing all of the basic land-based plants and turning them into food. There are 2 more. And if we want to get our sort of happiness score with the beavers up, we're actually going to need... Okay, good. Okay, we've got more beavers. We got 42 beavers now. And now we've got enough beavers working that we can we're actually making planks at our old rate again. That's good. But yeah, so basically I would need to grow aquatic plants. Now, aquatic plants, they only grow in 1/2 tile deep water. And so that actually means that maybe this whole deal where I was saying, oh, I need to put water wheels in here, maybe I don't. Maybe that's actually just not all that helpful. Maybe what though, I mean, I don't know. I definitely want my grist mill working at a top capacity, and right now it's working at half capacity. But it seems like at least this area and this area, it would probably make sense to grow some aquatic plants there. I'm trying to think if there's any other way to do it, and I just... Aside from just raising the level of the water again, which means moving everything that's currently in the water, which just sounds like a nightmare. It doesn't seem like it's a great way to... Of course, I could flood this area. Now, somebody pointed out to me, by the way, for a long time I thought that once I lost my berry bushes, they're gone forever. Turns out that's not actually true. Blueberries and dandelions, the naturally occurring plants out there, can be built... They can be made by a forester, and I didn't learn that before. So thank you, whoever left that YouTube comment telling me that. I can actually replace dandelions and blueberries. And if that's the case, maybe I could actually flood because this land right here is the same level as this water, or it's like the ground underneath this water. Maybe if I built like a levee out here, maybe I could sort of make it like an artificial aquatic farmland area over here. If I did that, though, I need to figure out where else I'm going to grow wheat. I mean, maybe I could grow it up here if I can consistently keep this area full. Or maybe this is where my carrots go, up here, and I do it, and I put my wheat here, or something. These are all excellent questions about what I should do. They're all questions for the future. Okay, so at some point in the future, just sort of laying out my goals here. So we've got an engine going, which is great. I'm gonna take some notes here. What are things that I want to do? So number one goal that I set like 2 episodes ago that I haven't done is decorations. So we want to have decorations, and that's something I could probably sneak in pretty quick at some point. We also want to make explosives so that we can build up our water wheels. Add water wheels to get our grist mill going faster. That's another thing that would be valuable. Aquatic crops on the wheat field and the dandelion field is another thing that we want to do. So all of those seem like good goals, each of them for an episode. Though actually, the decoration one isn't going to take that much. It's actually a pretty low bar. The way the decoration works is you've got these decorative items like a shrub, for instance. Let's look at our beaver's well-being here and see. Have I put any? Okay, I've got a shrine there, but on the aesthetic side, I've got no beaver statues, no roofs, and no shrubs. And so those are the ones that the beavers care about. And I have placed none of these in my world. So the way that they work is, if I've got a shrub, let's put a shrub over here. It's got this sort of 8-tile area around it, where any beaver who passes into that area goes, huh, I've seen a shrub. That shrub has made me happy. And so in order to make all these beavers happy, I need to put a shrub where they're all going to see it. Now, luckily, because I've got all of my beavers living in one single column, every beaver house is stacked right here. that means that anything that I put very close to this, very likely all of the beavers are going to find it. Because I'm pretty sure, and someone who knows better could correct me if I'm wrong about this. I'm pretty sure that height doesn't matter. That, like, you will see, if you pass near a shrub, you will see a shrub, even if the shrub is above you or below you. And so I think that if I just find a very simple place to stick a little shrub, I'm pretty sure that it's that all of the beavers who live here, who go up and down these stairs and stuff like that, if I put it in the right place, nearly all the beavers will see it. So let's actually... That might actually... Just experimenting with that might even be worth... Is that worth an episode of its own? No. No. Because I think we can just test it in a single day. So let's... I'm going to put one shrub right here. So every beaver who passes under it or who goes down this staircase should reap the benefits. Now the question is, why are my beavers not building it? Maybe it's because there's so few builders. Okay, here we go. Now we've got a beaver building it. Because we've got enough planks, we've got enough logs. I think that's all that it costs. Well, it'll be much more convenient, beavers, if you finish it today. So that we can test it out tomorrow. Okay, guess that's not happening. Oh, while we're worrying about that, another way that we can raise their happiness is to give them more social opportunities. So right now, this campfire is the only social opportunity that they have. And actually, I feel like because we've been so judicious with our space, right now I'm actually feeling pretty confident that we could put another campfire out here. So I'm putting another campfire out there. Okay, so we've made a shrub. Ooh, I forgot. The shrubs are red for the iron teeth. The folktails have green shrubs, but the iron teeth have red shrubs. So, over the course of the day, beavers are going to pass this shrub. And at the end of the day, I'm going to check and see how many of them actually saw it over the course of the day. And whether I need to put more shrubs out. But it could be that all we need is just this one stupid shrub, and we're going to be fine. So while this day is continuing, though, let's start thinking about another social opportunity, which... I'm trying to think of where we could cram it in. Oh, here we go. Day's over. Everybody's going home. Everyone's passing through whatever route they usually take to get home. So some of them are coming over here, which might actually put them out of the way of the shrub. Okay, they've all gone to bed. Check the shrub. 34 out of 46 beavers saw that shrub. So that's pretty good. And I've got a theory that the ones who didn't see it were probably the ones that were coming from this side. Oh, I know another reason why it took them a while to build the shrub. They had to build this pump first. Okay. So let's... So I could build a second shrub. Like, for instance, on the back side here, if we wanted to build some storage for something or other, I don't know what we want to store exactly. There's no access on this level, but could there be access on that level? I'm being a freaking weirdo. Like, this is stupid. Why am I doing this? Why am I building all of this nonsense? Just so that I can put one more storage here, and then here, and then put a shrub on top of all of that. Like, I couldn't just put a freaking shrub. Like, I had to put all of that up there. What is wrong with me? Okay, now I have to, like, lower everything so I can decide what goes in this one. I don't know. Okay, so I am planning soon. I am planning on making paper and explosives. So let's make this our paper storage for the future. And let's try to remember that we've got paper storage already, so I don't just double up on it, just make a million paper storage. But okay, restore everything. Okay, so they're going to work on building that. We now have 46 beavers. Okay, our actual... Okay. Now our population is growing out of control. I'm a little worried about that. I can always pause these little guys. Let's let it grow just a little bit bigger. But, yeah, at some point I might need to pause my beaver tanks. Okay, so everyone went home. There is a shrub there. Everyone's headed home. 44 of 46 saw the shrub. You know what? I don't think we can do much better than that. That's pretty good. Okay, so we've made shrubs work. Now we just need to do the same thing with a beaver statue. So the question is, where does a statue belong? One place we could stick a statue is right here. And let's unlock the statue. The statue is actually... Oh, I forgot. These beavers have freaking expensive statues. Okay, I'm going to need to place this statue... I'm going to have to place this statue very, very cleverly. Because the statue for the folktales is green. I'm sorry, green? No. The shrub for the folktales is green, and the one for the Iron Teeth is red. But they're not different otherwise. The statue is wood for the folktales, but it's metal for the Iron Teeth. But the statue also has a wider area. And so I'm wondering, this might be enough, because because my staircases wrap around so much. Like, specifically, like, I'm worried about people who live in the back here. But let's go down this and see, like, in order to get to these upper story ones, I think you have to loop around a couple of times. Now this one, yeah, no, it is possible to dodge the front. So maybe I don't want to put it on the front there. Maybe this isn't a good spot for a statue. Maybe the best spot is actually, like, alongside the two. Like maybe I should put one here. Yeah, like if I put a statue here, then everyone who has to walk back and forth along the side of this in order to get home is going to get it. And in fact, I think its area might include the doorways. Yeah, I think it does. So I think if I put it there, I think everyone should see it as they're going home because the doorways are lit up all the way up and down this area. So yeah, I think that's the right move. So we'll see. We don't actually have enough metal to do it yet. I think that we're going to actually fall short of metal, and we're going to need the refinery to come up with some more metal for us. So the other thing we're going to need is roofs. And roofs are actually one of the tougher ones for me because I don't like saying that my tower is done. I don't like putting a roof on top of a tower and saying that I think it's finished. And this is... whatever. I don't think we need this right now. But, luckily, they don't actually require you to put roofs on top of buildings. You can put roofs wherever the crap you want. And so, one thing that I kind of like to do to get beavers looking at roofs is to make little gazebos, basically. So what I do is I take a well-trod path and just put a little roof on it. It's like right there, for instance. Lots of beavers go through this area. So I'm just going to put a little tiny roof right there. And it actually looks kind of cute, right? Like it just sort of, this is the entrance to this little place. And now all the beavers that pass through that area are going to see a little roof. And similarly, we might need another one on the back end. Where's the best place to stick a little roof on the back end? I don't know. Like, just someplace where I'm not going to want to build above it. Maybe next to these water things that I can't build above. Maybe if I stick a little a little roof right here. That'll look cute, and beavers will pass through it. Though without that first roof being built, we can see how many saw that. Without that second roof being built, we can see how many beavers saw that first roof. Not very many today saw that first roof. So it's not in a great place, but everybody saw the shrub and the statue. So congratulations, success. Let's build, because these are really cheap. Like, I could just build them freaking everywhere if I want to. Yeah, so I'm thinking... Thing is, I think I want to use this space here for something else. So I'm not going to put it there. I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about where I do want to... Well, let's see how they do with the ones that we've got. So at the end of the day, everybody's going to go home, and we'll see how many roofs they saw. And if they saw enough roofs, then I'd say we're successful. Okay, ding, 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 everybody go home. I love that little auditory decoration that you can add. Like, this thing is great because, it doesn't do a lot. It doesn't seem to actually play into their well-being. But it's just nice to have that little sound at the end of the workday. And 39 people saw a roof. So that's pretty good. The beaver statue actually does give you, like, extra well-being. So we're getting up to... We got 17 well-being now. And so... Okay, so what else are we going to want? Wet fur. That's when we could at least get more access for more beavers to wet fur. So that would be good to get. And actually, that's what I should have... Oh, whatever. I'll think about that now. Carousel, Mud Bath, and Lido. Those are all pretty expensive. And Lido is going to be particularly difficult on this map. We might not be able to do that one. Awe. So sticking massive statues. Awe is all basically... These are massive statues that are extremely expensive to build. So we can build those. We can, so basically, I think, our goals for well-being include getting them some aquatic food. Maple pastries are also something we could consider doing. Just stop cutting down some of our maple trees and use those. We could build some massive statues. We could try to get paper and books up and running. And we could build a temple and an additional shrine. So we've still got a lot of options for well-being. But let's see here. So our goals for future episodes. So again, we're going to want to build up, using this power of this engine that we've just put in today. We're going to want to build up our ability to generate paper and our ability to generate explosives. Paper and explosives are going to give us the ability to build these, to deepen these channels and add these water wheels back in. So that's going to be really cool. And then we also are going to want to invest in aquatic crops, which will take some finagling to fit aquatic crops into this already existing paucity of space. So that's going to be tough. And then we're also going to keep looking at other ways that we can ramp up the beavers' happiness, including one that I didn't point out, which was rooftop terraces. That's another one that I think we could probably pull off. We'll just have to figure out exactly where we want to do it. But I think that this is probably a good end for this episode. So let me quickly check in with my chat. Yeah, it looks like people haven't said a whole lot in a while. I think that most of you who are watching this are probably watching it in the background while you're doing something else, because that's the kind of game this is. And that's actually, when I'm playing Timberborn on my own, usually I'm watching something else at the same time. Lately, I just finished watching Carnival Row Season 2, which is, by the way, really good series. I really like it. I mean, it's very dark, and it's about, like, very dark real-world issues. But it's also a really cool, well-made show, and I really like it. And I also I like the Orlando Bloom and Cara Delevingne are like the leads, and they're really cool. There's a bunch of other really good actors in it too. And in fact, what's that dude's name? There's another dude that's in it that I really like, and I can't think of his name now, so I won't tell you it. But then I've just switched over. I'm now watching what's it called? The Shadow and Bone. I'm watching Shadow and Bone now, Season 2. There's a lot of Season 2s of, like, weird fantasy series, weird steampunk technology fantasy series. So I'm just basically mainlining that kind of thing while I'm playing Timberborn. And so I'm imagining a lot of you who are watching this video or who are watching me stream right now are probably doing the same thing, and that's totally cool. You don't have to talk to me. It's great. We're just enjoying playing a weird, chill video game together. So, if you're watching this on YouTube, there's a subscribe button for you. Here's the next episode, which I think I'm gonna stick to this. We're gonna keep making episodes right now.